everyone, happy Sunday and a big warm welcome back to A Gardener's Year. If you're new to the channel, my name is Sarah and this year I am aiming to share every single day of A Gardener's Year. The majority of those will be spent in the garden, and if I'm not in the garden because I'm away, I'll be sharing my thoughts on the garden, perhaps some quotes about gardening, some tips, places I visit and everything in between to show you what makes up A Gardener's Year. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I would love for you to subscribe to join our growing community as we learn and grow together in 2025. Last week I made a really good start on my seed sowing, so today I'm going to sow my chilies. I have 4 varieties of chilies that I would like to sow with a varying degree of heat. So I've got some jalapenos, which are nice and mild, then some cayenne peppers, which are medium as well. And we move into the habanero, which are that bit warmer. And then we move into the ghost pepper, which is over 1 million on the Scoville scale. So I'm not sure how many of those I'm actually going to be eating, but I thought it would be a fun one to try. To avoid any confusion over which seeds I've got where, I'm going to sow these into individual pots. I'm going to grow 4 of each variety and see how they do. If they struggle to germinate, then I will do a second sowing. Never has it been more important to get the labels on these correct. My logic here with these pots is I've got some paler pots for the ones that aren't so hot, and then some more deep orange pots for the ones that are hotter. So hopefully that will avoid some confusion. I'll know that if they're coming from these pots, they are the hotter variety, and the slightly paler ones are the more medium heat ones. So firstly, I'm going to fill these pots with some seed sowing compost. As I said last week, this seed sowing compost comes from B&Q, and it's just a really basic seed sowing compost. It's got a little bit of nutrient added into it, but really it's just to get the seeds going. Then you're going to plant them into something a bit more nourishing. Okay, so I've filled these with some compost, and now I'm going to water it just to make sure that the seed bed that I'm laying them into is flat. By doing this, it avoids disturbing the seeds once I put them in, because the compost has already been watered. And you can also see these are deflating quite a lot. So you can see if you need to top up the compost, which I'm going to do now. 4 jalapenos and put them individually into these pots. They only need sowing about 1/2 centimetre deep, so it's literally just a case of popping them on top here and then covering them over lightly with some more compost. A seed sowing shake. 4. Now I'm going to cover them over just finely with some compost and water them again. I'm going to go with the traffic light system of labelling these. So for the jalapenos, they're going to have green labels. For the cayenne, they are going to have some yellow labels. For the habanero, I will have the orange, and then for the ghost pepper, we will have red. I need to express the seriousness to my husband and 2 little boys of not swapping the labels around on these. 3, 4. I understand that some people like to overwinter their chilies, so if you've done that successfully, let me know in the comments, and if you've got any tips to share with other people in the comments, then do put those in there, because it can be really useful and save seed sowing year on year if you can keep the plants going over the winter. I was talking to a friend who gardens as well, and they were saying that they have limited space to be growing things inside. So they plant everything in individual pots like this, whatever they're sowing, so they can just place them on even thin window ledges around their house. And they can cover every single windowsill in their house with these individual pots so that they can grow the maximum amount of food and get it the maximum amount of light. If you're sowing seeds at the moment, let me know in the comments where you're growing yours. Is it on a windowsill? Have you got a heat mat to get things started? A little table by a window? Where do you find the best place to start off your seeds at this time of year? Okay, and finally, the ghost pepper. I like the fact the packet says very hot chili, but nothing on the back here explains quite how hot a ghost pepper is. Till I think it was 2013, the ghost pepper was the hottest chili, and it was in the Guinness World Record books for the hottest chili. So this is warm. Have you had ghost pepper before? 170 times hotter than Tabasco sauce. What's the hottest chilli you've ever grown? Never has a label been more important. That is the chilies now planted, ranging on the Scoville scale from 4,000 to 8,000, all the way up to 1 million with the ghost pepper. So let's see how they get on, but I'm really pleased to have got the peppers planted before the end of January. And another brilliant use of my garden time this Sunday. Hi guys, I said I would share my whole gardener's year, warts and all, and today is one of those doses of reality. I'm sure many of you deal with ongoing health concerns for either yourselves or your families, or we get these random bouts of illness in our families that cause us to have to pause. Today is one of those such days for us because my youngest was very unwell in the night with a tummy bug, so we are having a much needed day of rest. The reality of a gardener's year is that sometimes those garden jobs just have to wait, and our families and our health comes first. So whether it's your physical health or mental health for either yourself or a family member, remember it's absolutely fine to take a break during your gardening year to look after what's important. We did have some lovely light relief this morning because Stephen the squirrel was making us all laugh when we first came downstairs, so I'll insert a little clip of him now.
Got a point because he can swim. Can Mummy swim?
Fast.
It means Mummy can
Oh
swim.
my goodness, look!
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
That's so funny.
And we had a moment of delight because the leeks I planted in last week's video started to poke through the surface today. It's so exciting to see them appearing. So even though today is a day of rest for this gardener, there are still things going on both outside with the wildlife and inside with my seeds. So there's never a dull moment in a gardener's year. I hope you're all keeping well. Fingers crossed my little boy will feel much better tomorrow and nobody else catches it and we are able to continue with some garden jobs over the next few days. But for now, happy Monday everybody, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Hello again everyone, it is Tuesday the 28th of January and it again is a poorly day in our house. My little boy is still feeling really under the weather and we had another really bad night and the greenhouse is leaking. The miserable weather today is kind of reflecting our mood because we're all feeling a bit down in the dumps. So all I'm doing today is popping up the garden just for a few minutes to see if anything needs any urgent attention, just to get out of the house for a few minutes and see what's going on. Before I do, I thought I'd just briefly share with you some of my favourite mindful gardening quotes with you. Find peace and calm in your outdoor space. And I could definitely do with that today with everything that's been going on. When I go into the garden with a spade and dig a bed, I feel such an exhilaration and health that I discover that I've been defrauding myself all this time in letting others do for me what I should have done with my own hands. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The best thing one can do when it's raining is let it rain. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And one of my favourites. Nature's music is never over. Her silences are pauses, not conclusions. Mary Webb. I hope that you've enjoyed listening to some of those on this grey Tuesday morning, but now I'm going to get outside and just check on what's going on around the garden before I get back to looking after my little boy. Unfortunately, on Wednesday it was my turn to come down with the horrible virus. My little boy was still not feeling very well and up most of the night too, so it was a welcome sight to come downstairs and see a red pepper poking through, as well as the leaks progressing really well. But I must admit that's all I managed that day, and I was feeling really rather sorry for myself, so it was back upstairs to bed for me. Thursday the 30th was a day of high fever, so I only just about managed to make it downstairs and check on the progress of my seedlings. The leeks were thriving, and it was brilliant to see the sweet peas were now also popping up to say hello. Then I spent much of the day in our laundry room, and this is the beautiful orchid that greeted me. And the egg boxes that my husband's been collecting for me for my potatoes gave me a smile when I was not feeling my best. My parents, who were over in France, also sent me a video of some gardens at a chateau they were visiting, and I felt very thankful for all of the wonderful people around me. And then on Friday, my husband came down with the awful virus, and we had another night wide awake. The washing was really starting to mount around the house, and the tulips on the windowsill were really reflecting how we were all feeling. So to come downstairs and see the first aubergine seedling pop through was really a moment of light relief during what was otherwise a rather miserable day. Another night of no sleep later, and the healing nature of watching these seedlings grow was really starting to hit home. Just having this to cling on to when we were all feeling so ill lifted the spirits and kept us all going. Sunday the 2nd of February was a day of rest and recovery. The sun was shining, I continued to watch the seedlings grow, and stared longingly out of the window at the snowdrops I felt I was missing out on, and hoped tomorrow would be a better day. And it was, because on Monday the 3rd of February I finally made it back outside to my beloved garden. The snowdrops were beautiful, and the whole spring bulb area seemed to have sprung into life since I had last come outside. As I walked further up the garden, I saw the happy little crocuses were really starting to poke through now. And seeing the broad beans looking happy and healthy, and the tulips starting to poke through, the healing power of nature really did its work. Tuesday the 4th of February was a day of washing, bleach, washing and more bleach. Norovirus really isn't a lot of fun, but I made it outside to see these beautiful snowdrops and to feel the February sun on my skin. Admiring the crocuses peeking through the lawn was a reminder that brighter days are coming, and that light always follows darkness. Everyone, it's so good to be back talking to the camera and back into our normal routine after what's been a rather challenging week in our house. Obviously these things happen every winter and it is a true reflection of a gardener's year. Sometimes we have to take a step back, look after ourselves, look after our families, and the garden takes a back seat. But watching the seedlings growing inside over the last week has just really cheered us all up, and it's been wonderful to see the progress they've made over the last week while we haven't been able to do much else. So we're now in February, and I'm going to be sharing all of the jobs that I'm getting up to this month in the garden as we go along. Today I'm just bringing the sweet peas outside because, as you probably have seen in the earlier videos, they're getting very leggy. I think they'll be recoverable, but we'll bring them out here and hopefully this will calm them down a bit and they'll realise it's not quite as warm as it feels inside, and they'll kind of have a bit more light out here in the greenhouse as well. So fingers crossed they'll be happy out here. I'll take you back inside in a minute and show you the progress of the seedlings today. They're doing so well. I'm really pleased with how many have germinated and how many we've got going. Thank you all for bearing with me this week. I'm really pleased that I've managed to keep filming every single day, even if it's been just what the seedlings are up to or my view from the window as I look longingly out into the garden, hoping to get back out here. But now that we're all starting to improve, I'm hoping to get out here a lot more now and get on with some of those February garden jobs. But today I'm just going to take you inside and show you the progress of those seedlings. And there is always time to stop and admire those crocuses. Here are the aubergines, and as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 down here, 10 and 11. Absolutely brilliant, 11 aubergines. And then in here we have the sweet bell peppers, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 as well. So 11 sweet peppers as well. Really, really pleased to see such brilliant germination in these 2 seed trays. And of course, the leeks continued to go crazy. Hello everyone and happy Thursday. As you may have noticed, I'm carrying in a huge egg box filled with my first early seed potatoes. I've also got another one inside which is filled with my Charlottes, but these are my red Duke of Yorks. So we all know now is the time to be chitting those first early potatoes, but I heard a top tip today which I'd never heard before, and a way to get more for your money with your seed potatoes. So let me share it with you now in case you, like me, hadn't heard it before. If you've heard this before, let me know in the comments. If you've tried it before, let me know in the comments. But this is the first time I've heard this. So if you've got a seed potato with more than one eye, which is most of your seed potatoes, so here I've got one here, another one coming here, in fact there's quite a few around here, then what you can do is divide your seed potato in half. So for example, if I was going to look at this one here and this one here, I could cut the seed potato down the middle of the 2 eyes and then harden off the freshly cut edge, and then I would have 2 seed potatoes for the price of 1. Is that something you've done before, or do you tend to just leave your seed potatoes as they are to do their thing? Some people don't even chit them, they just pop them straight in the ground. You'll still get potatoes, but this just gives you that little bit of a head start. We're all starting to feel a bit better today, but I'm still just doing those basic jobs like chitting potatoes. Thankfully, we're still in a season where things are reasonably calm, but I'm hoping that over the weekend I can get out here and get on top of some of the jobs that I was hoping to do over the last few weeks. Hope you're all having a brilliant Thursday, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Hi guys, I'm here in the fruit cage today pruning my autumn fruiting raspberries. Autumn fruiting raspberries need pruning at this time of year because they shoot their new growth down from the base of the plant and produce fruit on these new stems. So the old stems left from last year won't produce any fruit this year. That's in contrast to summer fruiting raspberries, which produce their fruit on stems that were produced last year. So as you can see, this one is already starting to shoot. If we cut summer fruiting raspberries down to the ground, then we will have to wait a whole another year before we can get any fruit. So it's really important to know whether your raspberries are summer or autumn fruiting. I have 2 summer fruiting raspberries and 2 autumn fruiting raspberries, and I've already cut back this autumn fruiting raspberry, and now I'm going to cut back this one as well, just leaving an inch or 2 above the soil so I know where the plant is. Just another 15 minutes this lunchtime, but a really useful use of that 15 minutes, getting my autumn fruiting raspberries cut back ready for the new growing season. If you've got autumn fruiting raspberries, have you cut yours back yet? Let me know in the comments. It's Friday, it's wonderful to be back outside in the garden, and I'll see you all again tomorrow. Hello everyone and happy Saturday. Today is going to be a busy one for me because I'm going to be catching up on lots of the teaching that I've missed over the last week and a bit because I haven't been very well. So the majority of my Saturday is going to be taken up with working. So I'm just going to spend 15 minutes potting on some of my seedlings. The seedlings I'm potting on are my aubergine seedlings and my red pepper seedlings. They're still pretty dinky, they haven't got any true leaves yet, but because I'm going to want some of these seed trays to sow things like my tomato seedlings into, I'm going to pot these on now to free up some space. There are 11 aubergines that have germinated. They were scattered more sporadically in the seed tray, and 11 sweet peppers that have germinated. And I only had 12 sweet pepper seeds, and I placed them really evenly in the tray, and only one seed has not germinated, so that was a really good success rate on those. So I've just dug out 22 tiny little pots, which I'm going to pot these all onto individually and then take them back inside just for another week or two. So to pot these on, I am just going to lift around them, check on how the roots are looking. Already, you can see this has got a beautiful root coming from the bottom there. So the surrounding soil that was surrounding the seedling is going in the seed pot. And then I can hopefully disturb it as little as possible. And it's just giving it greater depth really to grow rather than much more space around it. They've got plenty of space around them, these seedlings, in this particular tray, but not a huge amount of depth. So this will just give it a bit more downward space to grow in as well. Being really careful not to damage the stem. And there we have it, one seedling potted on. 11 sweet peppers potted on and ready for labels. Let me know in the comments how your seedlings are doing. I'm after some new greenhouse staging because these have been here since we moved in and they're falling apart now. And I'd like to have something here that I can move because this is a permanent bench and it then limits the growing space in here in the summer, and I would like to be able to use beds on both sides for growing. So something on this side that can be put up and then taken down would be really, really useful. Okay, that took a few more minutes than 15 minutes, but I've now got my sweet peppers potted on and my aubergines potted on. I'm going to label the aubergines now and then take them all inside and put them back on my shelves by the window for a few more weeks. And that's it for this Gardener's Year double bill. Thank you all so much for sticking with me when we haven't been feeling well. If you'd like to see more of this Gardener's Year, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again next time.